Hello, Paulina. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just fine, and thank you very much for inviting me. It's definitely my pleasure, my honor to be here. Good morning to all of you, even though here in Waterloo it's 12 hours later at night.
Yes, hello, Sim.
Oh, and so I'm going to start sharing my screen. Let me just get that. Okay. Now, are you able to see my, I'm assuming you can see my Maple 2023 screen here? So if I don't hear otherwise, I'll assume you're able to see this.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Great. And since I usually have trouble giving the presentation and monitoring the chat at the same time, if there are any questions, feel free to interrupt me and just let me know there's a question, and I'll be happy to pause. So my understanding is that all of you in the audience are familiar with Maple, which is great. I love speaking to our longtime users, as well as people new to the product. So in this first talk, I'm going to talk about some highlights from our latest release, Maple 2023, specifically for math instructors. And then tomorrow I'll be giving another talk at the same time where I'll focus a little bit more on the best tools in Maple 2023 for engineers and people teaching engineering math. And I apologize, I think in your part of the world, you probably say maths instead of math. So I'm afraid I have the North American usage here. The talk today, I'm going to focus on 4 main areas. So first, I want to talk about our user interface and mention a few of the improvements that we've put in very recently. I'm going to talk about our latest visualization facilities, advances in our math library, and then I'll end off talking about interactive applications, as well as how Maple connects to our newest product, Maple Learn. Even though the talk is about Maple 2023, I know that probably not all of you have been using 2022 extensively. So, or maybe if you have used it, you may not have seen all its features. So I'm going to also mention some of the new things, not just from this last release, which came out last week, but also from the past few years that I think are notable. I apologize. I'm going to go through everything very, very quickly just because there's so much I want to show you, but I understand you have a full day of Maple ahead of you, and that your workshop instructors will be able to go through all of these things in more detail. So first, let's start with the interface. By the way, I should mention that this whole presentation is done as a Maple workbook. So this bunch of worksheets put together. The workbook feature is not new, but I know that a lot of people haven't discovered it yet. And so that's really my first point, is how great Maple is for doing presentations. So our interface. We pride ourselves on our natural math interface that allows you to enter expressions and commands that look like real math. And we have, I'm not going to go through how to do all these things since it seems that most of you are familiar with Maple, and so you've probably done all these before. But our entry methods include using the palettes over here, the context panel, which I'll show in a moment, and command completion. And so with the palettes, I just want to remind you that with palettes, you can customize the view of your palette. So if you don't see the same palettes I do, you can go to view palettes and then add or remove palettes as you like. So in this talk, I'm mostly going to be using what we call our 2D math entry, which looks like natural math. But I just wanted to mention, of course, that 1D entry is an alternative and is very useful for programming and exploration of library commands. And you may see a little bit more of that in my presentation on the next day. Now, people have asked me many times, many of our users have said, well, which is better, 1D math or 2D math? And my answer is you use the tool that suits best what you're doing. If 1D math works for the application that you have in mind, then use that. If you want the natural math look without the problems of having computer science-like commands, then you use 2D math. All right, so let me talk about the context panel. To open the context panel, we press that. And one thing that we've been doing for the last few years is we've made a lot of improvements here. So sorry, this, if I'll remove this output so that you can actually see what it looks like when I do this. If I then click on 3D plot, then it automatically comes up and it gives the command here. So the context panel, the new context panel, was built about 5-6 years ago, I think, was introduced, and ever since then we've been making improvements to it. So some of you might remember the right click, and there's still the right click menu to do some things, but we've put most things in this much easier to use context panel. And what's new in 2023, we've made some improvements specifically for matrices and piecewise functions, in that you can click on a matrix and you can insert a row above, you can delete rows, and so on. So these are the specifically new things. And same with the piecewise function. I have saved input here that I had used earlier where I had added a row, and there it is. So these were just added in our latest release. Now, I mentioned the palettes, and I said that you can customize your palettes through the view menu. And so the palettes are really nice for being able to enter 2D math, especially. And we have a large number of them with the typical templates that you might want to use. But there's one new thing in 2023, and it's called Create Task. So I cheated here. I didn't have the patience to write out to come up with a new task. So I went to Maple's built-in tasks and chose something from here and copied it into here. So pretend this is a new task that I created that's not in Maple. What I can do is now select it, right click, and do create task. It will say, what is this? I'll just call it my task. And now, oops, oh my goodness. I think, oh, you know what? I had probably added that already before. And so let me try this again. Create task. And so, yeah, sorry, I had used the name earlier, and that's why it gave me the error. But now this should show up somewhere in my menu. Is it at the favorites, expressions, calculus? Sorry. Oh well. Okay, this is the problem with doing live demos. I swore this worked earlier in the day when I tested out, but it should show up in your task menu, and I probably needed a reboot, so I apologize. Anyways, I promise you this did work. I probably did something silly here, but normally your task would show up on the menu, and then you'd be able to click it and insert it back into the worksheet. Okay, so let me go on and talk about print layout mode. This is another exciting thing that was added actually last release. And I'm going to use an example paper here that I downloaded from the internet. It's from our new journal, Maple Transactions, and I'll talk about that in a moment. This is written by my colleague, Dr. Jürgen Gerhard. And the way the print layout works is if you click on toggle print layout mode, then it shows this in a print layout mode where you can actually see where the page breaks are. So the page breaks, and you can see the width of your page depending on what your setup is. And this way, it allows you to be able to edit actually in place right here. This isn't a print preview where you can't alter. This is an alternative form of the interface. So you can actually adjust your spacing and so on to make sure that you don't go over the page breaks. So that's a feature that many people like because they want to be able to have printed copies of their papers. Now, let me go back to this, and I'm going to pause from this presentation to give you an advertisement. So it was mentioned that I've been working at MapleSoft for 22 years, and mostly as a developer in the mathematics group. And now I work on the Maple Learn content team, but I also have a couple of other roles. One of them is I'm a senior editor on our new journal, Maple Transactions. And Maple Transactions is a new journal that started a couple of years ago. It's completely free. We take papers, anything to do with Maple, also Maple Learn, and we take research papers that are then submitted to referees. And but we also accept contributions of a non-refereed or it doesn't go through a formal refereeing process, but instead is just looked over by our senior editors. We have contributions that are about education, coding in Maple, anything that might be of interest to the Maple community. And this also includes our proceedings from our Maple conference. So let me continue for one more moment to talk about the Maple conference. Because I am the program chair for the Maple conference, that's my other job. And our last one was in November 2022. We'll have another online conference 2023. It's a really wonderful event. Last year we had hundreds of people attend online. We had presentations, product demos, and discussions. So let me get back to my presentation. So my advertisement's over, but I would like to encourage all of you, especially those of you who use Maple in your classrooms and your research, to please consider not just looking at our journal and reading the articles, but consider submitting an article to us, and then also consider joining the Maple Conference. The last few years, it's been online and it's free. I know the 12-hour time difference makes it a little bit difficult, but hopefully it's, you would still find value in it. All right. The last thing I want to mention about the interface is the help system. We've made some changes to the help system. So, for example, if you, let me open up the plotting guide here. Here's my help window. And let's say I want to look at this page. And I want to look at the color tools palette. But now I want to go back to the previous page. Notice that these are all available through tabs up here. In the past, it was always painful to go back and forth between pages, and now you can have them all lined up in tabs. And it's a very small improvement, but really makes life much better for Maple users. It's one of my favorite features from this release. All right, let me see. Now I'm just going to, so that's, those are the interface improvements. I'm going to go on to visualization, but please let me know if there are any questions. I should say too, if there are questions afterwards or during the workshop, please feel free to send me an email message. Your host should have my information for my contact information. The only thing is because it's late in the evening here in Waterloo time, if you send me question, I may not be answering it until the next morning for me. All right, let's look at visualization now. So we put in a new plot builder, a brand new plot builder based on the context panel a few years ago, and one of my colleagues has been consistently adding features and improving it since then. So here's what it might look like. Click on some input and then click on plot builder. And now you see the plot immediately comes up, and you can also change it. I didn't really want a regular 2D plot. I meant to do a polar plot. And let's say I want to change the color of the curve. I want to change the thickness. So I can do all that in this context panel. And then once I'm done, I can close the context panel. And if I actually want to see the command, I can also do show command. And then the command appears here. So that's been around for a little bit now, but last release we allowed the plotting of multiple expressions. So now you can get all three expressions plotted, and that was new as of last year. And then in 2023, we have an exciting new addition. Some of you may have used our explore command to be able to create an interactive app with a slider. That's been around for a while, and you can use it to explore how a parameter affects a plot or a calculation. Well, now we can use the plot builder. And so clearly this is not the plot I'm looking for. Instead, I want to have a regular 3D plot. I want to do an exploration, and I want X and Y to have these -2 pi to 2 pi. And then I'm going to build the exploration. Which takes a moment. And now notice I have the slider A, but this slider, I want to change the value. So I'll click on the slider and I'll change the values from, say, 0 to 1. And now I get the actual exploration that I want. So that's the new feature in 2023, to be able to do an exploration right from the plot builder. We have a lot more exciting things to do with plotting, and if you're not familiar with the last few versions of Maple, I highly recommend you look at the Maple plotting guide and browse through it to see all the new things that we've been adding to this over the years. Lots of different 2D plots, 3D plots, and ones for special applications. So yeah, go through that. Now, for 2023 specifically, we put much of our energy into improving density plots and contour plots, and I hope you'll agree with me that they look pretty good. So especially this color bar, which our users have been asking us for a long time, and finally we have done that. And I'll say more about the different colors later, but these are some of the new things. We've also been improving adaptive plotting. So some of you who have used Maple from years past, you'll remember that you have to use the discount option to be able to ask for discontinuities. The discount option was not turned on by default because sometimes it could take a very long time to execute to find the discontinuities, but we have a new implementation using interval arithmetic, and so now we can detect discontinuities much more quickly. And also these same improvements to adaptive plotting allow Maple to produce much nicer plots compared to, there were some plots in the past which were challenging to recreate numerically. And so these improvements allow us to do much better at those plots. Not only that, we last release there were some significant improvements to zooming, panning, and resizing. And so in the past, if you zoomed into a plot, it would just look grainier and grainier because the plot wasn't being recomputed at a high resolution. It was just zooming into the image. And now we have, let me see, now Maple is actually recomputing so that you can really explore the interesting behavior around certain points and get the correct detailed view. Now, about the colors, I'd be curious to know how many people have actually tried the Color Tools package. It's one of my favorite packages in Maple. It's very powerful, allows you to do lots of stuff, but I think it's one of the most underrated packages in Maple, and not many people have tried it out. But it's great. You can customize all your visualizations, and let me see if I could find some interesting color palettes. There's a whole bunch of different color palettes available that are built in, and lots of other fun things you can do with color here. And for in 2022, there were a number of new color maps added. So you can see, for example, in this image, some of the different color maps from the new collection. All right, so those are the new things. Again, in your own time, I recommend you browse the plotting guide to see the new types of plots. Recommend you play around with color tools, which is a fantastic package to lots of fun to use. All right. Now I'm going to talk about the math library. So Maple has, well, coverage of a large parts of mathematics. There's an index of packages, and you can browse through here to see any new ones that have been added in the last few years that you don't know about, and they're all listed here. I'm just going to talk about a couple that I particularly like, that we're very proud of. The graph theory package, there have been a lot of improvements over the past years. And in 2023 specifically, we incorporated Concord, an external library created by Bill Cook of University of Waterloo and partners, that implements a very efficient algorithm for the traveling salesman problem. And this allows us to solve the traveling salesman problem with a large number of variables. And here, I'm going through this example because it also shows some of the other really nice features that have been added to the graph theory package over the last few years. Visualizations have improved greatly. And here, if I scroll down, there's some more additions to the package, support for multigraphs. Anyways, if you do research in graph theory or you teach the course, please check out graph theory because it's a very, very big, substantial package. And let me see if I can just show you the main page. So there's a huge number of commands and functionality for visualization. So that's another package I would recommend if you have any interest in graph theory to check out. There's some other new things that were added in 2022 and 23, including big improvements to the polyhedral sets package and the addition of a Z polyhedral set subpackage, new facilities for ball arithmetic, and these facilities were what led to the implementation of the better adaptive plotting features I showed earlier. There's improvements to integration, to FSolve, our numeric equation solver, and there's really too many for me to go through right now. So what I would suggest is that you look at the pages. If you type in updates in the help search, then you can easily see all of the updates for the last few releases. And then if you click on one of them, then you can find all the details about advanced math or visualization or any of the things I'll be talking about. All right, I feel a little guilty skipping over that since there's really a lot there, and I don't want to trivialize it, but there's some other things. I understand that most of you in the audience are instructors, and so I want to concentrate a little bit on some tools that'll be useful to you. I'm sure you're all familiar with our student packages. The first student package was added, maybe 20 years ago, the Student Calculus 1, and then every few years we've added a new student package, and we're continuing to update all the facilities there. So even though the whole of the student packages have been around for a long time, we're still working on them continuously and improving them. One thing that's also new, which might be of interest to some of you, is if any of you have used the physics package, this is one that is maintained by my colleague Edgardo Cheptarab, and he posts about the physics improvements on our Maple Primes forum frequently. But he has written, sorry, it takes a moment to load up, but he has written a series of worksheet pages to help instructors who want to use the physics package to teach mechanics. And so these are just examples and tips on how to use the package for teaching mechanics. All right. Another big thing that has gone into Maple the last few years, we've been adding step-by-step solutions to help students not understand not just what the final answer of a question is, but the various steps in getting there. And this has been very, very popular. Here's an example where if I enter x squared times sine x, I could replace this with any other function of one variable, and I use show solution from Student Calculus 1, then it shows all the steps to go through that process to get the solution. Here's another one that I really like. It's also one of our newer ones called Curve Sketch Steps. And this explains how you would go about sketching a graph by hand. And it even embeds a little plot to show you what you'd get at the end. Now, in 2023, we've added solution steps for more operations, implicit differentiation, complete square and long division. So again, I'll refer you to the updates pages so that you could get all the details on those new things. And the nice thing about the long division, of course, is not just division of numbers, but also of polynomials here. Okay. Now I'm going to turn to what I think MapleSoft's one of Maple's biggest strengths is interactive applications, and we have lots of exciting things here. First of all, the math apps have been around for a long time, but the collection grows steadily. And now we have over 460 different math apps. And I recommend you go through the math apps guide to get a sense of all the different kinds of applications we have here. We have a cover for many, many areas of mathematics. I'm going to show you just one of them so that you can have an idea of what some of our latest ones look like and what features we have here. So this one is level curves and cross sections. There's most of our math apps are formatted in the same way, where there's some description of the mathematics behind it, and then we have an interactive example here. So here we have a function already built in, but you can replace that with your own function of 2 variables. And then this one explores, basically it takes a plane and works through so that you can also see the intersection. We can do level curves. We can also do cross sections through along an axis. So that's an example of one of our latest math apps. You can build your own math apps, and I think that maybe you'll get a chance to do some of that in your workshops today and tomorrow. The way you build your own, you use the embedded components that are available here. So the sliders, the plots, the dials, and so on, they come from our embedded components, and then you use the document tools package. So this requires some Maple programming, but it's not that hard to put together. In fact, one thing I forgot to mention is if you want to not build one from scratch, but maybe make some small adjustments to what people might not know, because it's not totally obvious, is, sorry, my buttons are in the way here. At the bottom, there's a there's a button called editable. If you click on editable, and then go to edit, that you can see the startup code, and that's all the code that's used to run this app. If you don't click editable, then you're not going to be able to see the startup code option there. All right. Now let me say a few words about Maple Learn. Maple Learn is our newest product, and it's think of a more limited version of Maple that's on the browser. It really doesn't have all the capabilities of Maple. It's not meant to, so it definitely doesn't replace Maple, but it works really nicely with Maple. And what I've been doing at MapleSoft the last couple of years is I manage a team of people creating all this content here on Maple Learn. So if you browse through our gallery, you can see a lot of the documents that we've created. Now, there are 2 types of documents in Maple Learn. Here's one, area of a sector. And this one you can see how you move a slider, you change the graph. This one was created completely in Maple Learn. So the person who authored this didn't need to use Maple at all. However, some of the more interesting documents and more powerful ones were made in Maple. So here is one where, let me just make my make my browser a little. I'll zoom a bit so that you can see the whole thing. Anyways, this one computes a normal distribution of grades. Let's say I change a number here, and then I recalculate. Then notice the plot changes and the mean and variance are updated here. And so this actually, you can't create this document in Maple Learn. This was created in Maple using the Document Tools Canvas package. Now, this is the package I'm talking about, Document Tools Canvas, and it's actually very easy to generate certain canvases from a number of solution steps and practice commands in Maple. So we have this output equals canvas available for some of the commands, and let me show you what this looks like. If I enter this is derivative practice from the grading package, and I'm putting in diff of this percent sign just says I'm using an inert diff, so it doesn't evaluate, and I put this polynomial in, and I said output equals canvas. It gives me this URL, and if I click on it, then I get, I'm going to close this since I don't need it. Let me just make this bigger again. So here, this one is for practice. I can do something like, I can do, say, 3x squared, and then let me put brackets around it. Whoops. Sure, that one's all there. Plus 2 and whoops. I meant to do this. Okay, let me do that, and then plus. Clearly, I would have a failing grade if I were actually a student, and then 2x, something like this, and then I will try to evaluate it. And then I'm going to say, check my work. And it tells me I did correctly. If I had made a mistake, it would point out which step was wrong. So this was something that was created in Maple, really just from a single command. But you can also do customized scripts. We call them scripts of your own, and that requires some more digging into the Document Tools Canvas package, but it's very, very powerful. We also have something else exciting in 2023 for interactive use. So the grading quiz command has been around a long time. It was also used with one of our previous products called Maple TA, which is now Mobius, that's produced by Digital Ed. Sorry, was there a question? Oh, anyways, so this is the grading quiz command has been around for a long time, but there's been some improvements to it. But here, this shows you some examples of what you can do with the quiz commands. So you can create these quizzes that appear in your Maple worksheet, and they can get much more complicated with randomization of the input, and you can have a try another button so that you can go through a sequence and generate new versions of it. There's also the ability to add hints and to show a solution. And so what's nice in 2023 is it used to be quite complicated to build any quiz that wasn't completely trivial. So we created this new quiz builder command to make it easier to do that. And here's what it looks like. There are some samples that have already been put in. So here's an example of finding expected values as continuous practice because there's a try another step. So here's some code to for checking the answer. You put in code to try another. You put in code to show solution. And because we realize this is not simple programming, that's why there are so many samples available so that you can adjust ones that are already there to create your own. But you have a choice of, you can now create this question in a Maple document and have it work in Maple. And you can do try another to have new random variations. You can show the solution, you can offer a hint, and so on. And not only that, you can then also show the same one in Maple Learn in the browser. And you close the context panel, and this works exactly the same way as the one in Maple. So from with one command, you can create the two different versions. Right. So I think I am at the end of what I plan to show for today. I thank you for your attention. And we still have some time left. I wanted to finish early and take your questions. So I will stop sharing for the moment and ask if there are any questions about what I've been showing you today. Yes, I'm not sure if there are questions. I am not able to hear anything. So I'm not sure if there are no questions or whether I'm not able to hear you. You can also
it's okay, Dr. Paulina. We can hear you very well.
Okay, great. Okay, I can hear you now. All right. Okay, is there anything else you'd like to know about Maple? I will have more to show you tomorrow with some applications in engineering. But if there's anything you like to know about the math features for Maple 2023, I'd be happy to tell you more.
Okay, let me ask one question. Is
Yes.
it possible if we can import an image and then make that image clickable in the Maple worksheet?
Yes, I believe you can. I know in Maple Learn, it's very easy to do that. And I'm pretty sure you can in Maple also. I can't tell you offhand how to do this, but if you, I'll make a note of it and I'll try to get the, because we can add hyperlinks to most things in. Have you tried adding hyperlinks just to text and other elements? You just click and you just choose the thing that you want to hyperlink, do convert to, and then hyperlink. And I imagine you probably could do that for an image as well. If not, then you could, maybe put a caption underneath and do that. But I will double check that. Any other questions? Okay, if not, then I thank you again. And can I? Sorry, in the chat, let me see. Can I add in Maple in Microsoft Word? Do you mean? Well, I honestly do not know the answer to that one. I don't know if maybe anybody else on this call, the other workshop instructors might know the answer to that. But I know that I know that Maple does various exports, like to LaTeX, for example, and I'm not sure what the connectivity is to Microsoft Word. I suspect not very much directly, but I will look into that. Any other questions?
Just my suggestion, actually we can use Maple Worksheet to replace the Microsoft Word, right?
Yes, as I said, Maple is great for doing publications. So if you already have a Word document and you're trying to include Maple in, I don't think there's an easy way to do that well without having like just static images. But if the question is, do you need to use Microsoft Word at all? Well, as you saw from our journal, Maple Transactions, all the articles are done in, many of the articles are done directly in Maple, and then they can be exported to PDF. We don't have, we can export to LaTeX, we can export to PDF, and also we have presentation mode. I don't know if you've seen slideshow mode in Maple, but that's a format I sometimes use for presentations also. So yeah, I would recommend, you could probably do everything in Maple. You can format documents and use headings and sections and include all the math, the executable math in there as well. Yes, thanks for that.
Okay, I think that's all for today.
Okay.
Okay.
That's great.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I want to thank again Dr. Paulina Chin for a very enlightening sharing. I hope all participants today will have some ideas about developing interactive and impactful content using Maple Math apps. We have another session tomorrow with the title Key Advantages of Maple 2023 and Creating Engineering Math Apps in Maple 2023 at the same time, 9 a.m. Malaysia time. Now we will continue the session with the hands-on session in Big Data Lab in our College of Computing, Informatics and Media. And if you are nearby UiTM Shah Alam, come to join our activities here. refer to our official Facebook page, IDMU-ITM. Once again, Happy International Day of Mathematics 2023, everyone. Thank you for attending this webinar.
Thank you very much.